Okay, it's saying that I'm live. Um, Hi, my name is Dr. Regina Jordan Sadiq. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I had said that I was going to do my commentary post. And I wrote that I was going to do my codex commentary. If you look on my community wall, you will see that I have posted the latest of what is going on here in Clarksville, Tennessee. You will see that I went to court over predatory lending concerning my mortgage, and they're increasing my mortgage to almost 3 times from when I began paying my mortgage. So when I went, at first, the judge was saying that the defendant didn't have the appropriate time to reply, didn't have the 30 days to reply. And then just before the 30 days were up, the defendant sent in a motion to dismiss. And then at the next hearing that we had, the defendant didn't even show up. And the next hearing that we had, the attorney showed up on cam, not present in physical like I was. But the attorney of the defendant showed up on cam. And the judge said that we were there to hear the defendant's motion to dismiss, not my initial complaint, but the defendant's motion to dismiss. From then on, the defendant's attorney, along with the judge, proceeded to end the hearing, no matter what I was saying. No matter that I brought up that the defendant sent mail addressed to my ex-husband to my house. My ex-husband was Nigerian and never been to the United States, especially to my house. So why would they be sending mail addressed to him? So when I brought that issue up, they told me to be silent about the issue, that we wasn't there for that issue. We were there to hear the defendant's motion to dismiss. And then the judge proceeded to tell the defendant's attorney to write up the dismissal after he dismissed my case. He told the defendant's attorney to write up the dismissal letter. So if you will look at my community wall post, my commentary, you will see that I have sent formal complaints against the judge and against the attorney for unethical activities, which is the judge told the defendant's attorney to write up the dismissal. That's a conflict of interest since I am the one to put in the complaint in the first place. The first time, the first hearing, the defendant never showed up. The second hearing, the defendant didn't show up, but sent a attorney and put him on cam. So I wrote up complaint letters against the judge, against the attorney, and I also submitted a complaint for corruption, which should be a RICO, to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'm also going to be sending letters to the CIA. I'm also going to be getting the addresses to veteran organizations and also telling them what they're doing using veteran benefits for predatory lending. Because on my mortgage, they also attached attorney litigation fees, which I also brought up that they cannot do. They don't have a right to do that. Because of under law, you cannot attach any fees onto veteran disability benefits. You can't do that. So that's against the law to do that, but they did that anyway. And when I brought that issue up, that was also silenced because the judge said I was pretty much there just to hear the motion to dismiss my case, which he did. And I also put that letter onto my community wall post. I have noticed that I'm getting additional fees tacked onto my phone bill. I receive a paper bill that's dated on a different date, a different amount, and then what is being on my online, the app, they have a totally higher amount listed and also a different date. So they're putting additional fees on that. They're trying to continue to have me pay an exceeding amount on my mortgage without showing exactly who and to where my mortgage payments is going. So I don't think it's a real company. I think that what they're doing is trying to cover up that they're doing predatory lending against veteran disability benefits. Not only are they doing that, but they're trying to attach other fees onto the bills that I have in this town, Clarksville, Tennessee, where I have to go to them to make complaints, and they are the ones that are doing it. So whoever is taking that money and trying to stay out of court and keep having my mortgage payments to be almost 3 times as much as when I started, I'm going to find out where my payments are going. I've already made complaints against the attorney, I already made complaints against the judge. And someone is going to say what's going on, not only with where my funds are going, someone's going to tell me what's going on, what is going on here. Not only in this house with my family and what they're trying to cover up too. Because how is it that when I go and make complaints and have legal matters and other people are showing up that I don't even know, yet they have influence on the outcome of my trial? I don't think that's right. And I'm going to find out what's going on. I'm going to find out what is this predictive programming, how it is that you can have how it is that you can influence family members against other family members to assault them. And that's exactly what happened when I went to Fort Campbell military base and I witnessed this with my own eyes, how it's done. How they can say things, specifically trigger words that will alter that individual's personality to what they want to happen. In other words, you might think that your family member is having issues or their behavior change on their own, and it's not being changed on their own. The family member's behavior is being changed because someone else is changing that behavior towards you. And from there, you're being attacked. That is exactly what's going on. So you might think everything is okay, and they're telling, or however that predictive programming goes, it is a lot of technology that they can use. Not only the apps, not only the sensors in the machines, verbal, also through the social media. All those are combined and also sent. All of that is combined in such a way that it can enforce a particular behavior in people where it becomes more aggressive, more hostile, and eventually erupts. That's one issue. The other issue is individuals are taking it upon themselves to cover up what's going on here in Clarksville, Tennessee. Individuals in the judicial department, attorneys, judges, the people coming in saying that they're defendants just like me, but they're not. The individual speaking about how he is or has beaten a woman because she has no respect for authority and went into detail about how she should be jailed for about 10 days. That was just a script. That was just them acting and saying what's been going on here in this house, what they've been doing to me by attacking me. And they don't think that I have any respect towards authority. So while I am sitting there in the courtroom, I had to listen to all those people speak about how they thought about me, speak about how that individual was going on and on about how much they beat that person, beat the woman and everything like that, and nothing that they did, nothing that they did worked. Now, it's one thing to treat a person that way. It's one thing to treat a person that way. And it's another thing to be in a courtroom looking at the individual that you're sending somebody else to attack and still have the gall and the arrogance to sit up there and tell the judge that nothing that you did about beating that individual worked. Have no respect for authority, no respect for anything, needs to be jailed, needs to be this, needs to be that. Pretty much almost begging the judge to jail that woman who wasn't even there. She wasn't there because they were talking about me. That was a fictitious woman. Those are the individuals that you're dealing with. Those are the mentality of the people that have no problem with if you have anything that they want or you're trying to interfere, they think you're interfering with what they're trying to accomplish. These people do not have any qualms whatsoever about using someone else to do the dirty work and keep their hands clean while they use your loved one or your relative to attack you. They have no problems doing that. They have no problems doing that. They have no problems covering up anything in the courtroom. They have no problems doing predatory lending as far as your mortgage. They have no problems with having other people in the courthouse to delay documents or to cover up anything or to misuse their authority. They have no problems doing that. So like I said, if you look on my community wall post, I have already did the documents and submitted them and uploaded them, have you say it, on the community wall post. And I have also showed you where I've already submitted to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Federal Bureau of Investigation, my complaint, the judge involved, and the attorney that wrote the dismissal And now my case is up in Nashville District Court, Tennessee, where they can also delay as long as they want, meaning that these individuals that's trying to cover up who is the owner, Penny Mac Loan Services, whoever that is, because like I said, they never showed up. The only person showed up was someone saying that they were the attorney, and that individual was on cam, on the screen, online, on Zoom, what you call that. So that individual never showed up. I'm the only one that was showing up in court, and also went into detail what happened when I showed up in court. What I just explained just a little while ago was one of the instances when I showed up in court and they never did. Speaking of which, every time that something happens here and I had to go to court, I'm the only one that's always showed up in court. Never the defendant, never the ones that put the complaints against me, never the ones I put the complaints against. It didn't matter. Of all these years, I'm the only one that showed up in court. Why is that? Am I the only real one? Are all the rest of these people actors? Why am I the only one that's showing up in court? Where is everybody? That doesn't make any sense. All these years, no one, only me showing up in court by myself. So where is all these people? If this is a real place here, if this is a real mortgage, if this is a real court, why am I the only one showing up? If they had complaints about me, so much so that they call the police and I have to go to jail over something they say, and I still go and I still arrive up in court, they don't even show up, but they made the complaint. That doesn't seem strange to you people. It seems strange to me. If it was such a dire issue where you have to call the police, right? I have to go to jail, right? I have to show up in court. I'm the only one up in there. Then where did everybody go? If the complaint was true, if the complaint was valid, then why isn't anybody showing up other than me? Why am I the only one? Where is everybody else? How does that work? If this is a real mortgage, then why try to cover up? Why dismiss it? Why tell me, oh, the defendant didn't have time to respond to my complaint, so they didn't show up the first time? And then when the 30-day that they said that they had to respond, just before the 30-day time deadline, they put something in to just dismiss the case. And so the judge go ahead, dismiss the case, and the defendant still never shows up. How does that work? It works very well if you have the money to make it happen. So a lot of stuff is being made happening in this town. But except for one thing, they're trying to make it happen to attach attorney fees, litigation fees to my mortgage, and trying to take veteran benefits to do that. That's not right. And that's not legal. And if this is a shell company, meaning that it's a made-up company, and my money is going into somebody's pocket, just to go into somebody's pocket, and they debit it around to each other, That's not right either. So like I said, I made a complaint to the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. I also have the address for the CIA. And I'm also going to be sending out letters to veteran organizations, and I'll decide which way it's going to go, because apparently there's something going on in Tennessee that people like to cover up a lot of things. Feeling their pockets is getting too good for them to do the right thing to people, to follow the law that they want us to follow. They're too busy stuffing their damn pockets. So I guess I'm going to continue to see whose pockets is getting stuffed until I find one that isn't stuffing their pockets and going to do what is right and what is legal, and find out what's going on here. I have put a lot of documents on my community wall posts. And like I said, I'm still having issues here, and I'm still doing that. I'm still working on Phoenix Rising Haven, the sanctuary. I'm putting in the additional documents that was requested from the USDA. Requested from those people. They wanted additional documentation that I got, and I am going to submit tomorrow. And that is for a loan for the land. And I'm still waiting on the results. Not the results, but the CLIA waiver testing for the laboratory. I've already got the zoning, so I'm okay with the zoning. I'm okay with the business license, and that is already placed on my community wealth post. So I've already did that, and I'm that's where I am so far. And as far as the land is concerned, it still has to be in southern Florida for the palm trees. It still has to be that, and everything else is still in works. So with the issues that I'm having with my home life, I've also put that online too, on my community wall posts. But I'm finding out all the individuals that are involved in how they've been doing the things that they have been doing. And that goes with the community gang stalking that I mentioned, the harassment, the assaults. I don't have that much more to say tonight, because this is not a very good subject to talk about, because a lot of things are going on here that are not right. A lot of things that are going on here where people are trying to cover up a lot of things that they've done for a lot of years. It's very easy to find out who owns the mortgage, where my payments are going. and to reduce the amount of money that I'm giving for my mortgage payments if I've already satisfied the obligation of the COVID-19 program that I was in, which I was saying while I was in the hearing, and the judge didn't want to hear it. So, from what I can understand and what I can gather, they want the predatory lending to continue as long as their pockets are being fed by my veteran benefits. That's the way I see it. Because if I have already fulfilled the obligation of repaying the amount of money that I owed during the COVID-19 deferment program, then I shouldn't be paying a mortgage that's almost 3 times what I started paying when I first purchased this house. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. So, I am going to continue, put it in my complaints. I'm going to continue shining light. That's the only thing that I can think of to describe what's going on what is going on here in Tennessee. So the more people that I can find to get involved, to help me with the issue that I have here, and to tell me what's going on, why it's going on, why I'm constantly being attacked, physically attacked. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop, and you people are not going to get away with what you've done to me. You're not going to get away with what you've done to me. You're not going to get away with continuing to have me pay this extravagant amount of mortgage when I've already met my obligations for the deferred program, COVID-19. I've already paid what I needed to pay off. So why am I still paying this amount for this mortgage? No. Somebody's pockets are being filled and they like it. That's the bottom line. And if the CIA and if the FBI, then I go further. I keep going until I find out who is going to look into this and actually do something about it. Because you're not going to continue to do that. You're not going to continue to take my money and fill your pockets. You're not going to tack on litigation attorney fees because you and your buddy judge want to do it. You don't get to do that. At least not with me. However, I need to stop it. You're not going to do that with me. I don't care who I have to go and write to and get those individuals involved. Be a pain in their ass until they get off their ass and do something about it. I really don't care. Y'all done fucked up my life. How many years? Even my PhD you have ridiculed. So, whoever I needs to get involved, whoever ear my letter needs to get to, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And while I'm doing that, I'm steadily going to be working towards getting my own land, my boutique, my laboratory, getting that established. I'm still going to be doing that while I'm working on your ass. So, let's continue. Good night, guys.